Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Today we are going to do something a little different. I want to make some announcements to the channel, and I also want to do a little bit of a Q&A. So first and foremost, the announcement is essentially that I am going to be transitioning towards doing YouTube full-time, which I know a lot of people will probably be like, what? But for me personally, I just realized I need to just fully commit to it. So it's going to be tricky at first because I still have to do my other job at the same time before I can transition completely, but I'm really excited and hopeful. I'm a little scared too, to be honest, just because I've always wanted to do this, and it just feels weird to finally be healthy enough and confident enough to do it at the same time. And so it's time. And what that essentially means is that I'm going to be posting 5 videos a week. I'm going to try my best to do it throughout April, but that will be the eventual goal. If I can't do it in April or May, I hope that by June I'm doing full-blown 5 videos a week. I plan on doing 4 videos normal style, Monday through Thursday. And then on Fridays, I want to do live streams where I read your guys' comments or read the chat, but it's a little bit more Q&A style because I want to still have interaction, because at this point, it's difficult to respond to every single comment, and I just want to make sure that there's still that level of interaction between us. So that's what Fridays will be pretty soon, if not this week. I just have to see what I can do and really set out a schedule. But that's my plan, that's my intention. So I really hope that you guys will be along with me for the ride. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the Q&A. So the first question I got was, what do you most look forward to once you reach your weight loss goal? This one was hard for me. This one was one that I saw and I was shocked at the question because I literally didn't have an answer. And I think that there's a couple reasons why. I also want to say that that was asked by Lindsay Bean. I have not been thin pretty much ever. I have not been trying to lose weight for the better part of 12 years, which I know is a long time. So it was really a jarring question for me, to be honest. But basically, I decided that I want to go ahead and really dive into YouTube and stuff. I think there's a couple of different things that I think about when I think of being done within weight loss. And one of them is just not having to worry about the state of my health anymore, pretty much at all. That has taken up so much time, especially in the past 3 years, that it's really hard for me to imagine a point where that's no longer a thing. The second thing is that it would be so great to not have certain social barriers. Like, I have always wanted to do a personal YouTube channel, for example, but it's really difficult to get that off the ground if you don't have the right look, because YouTube is such a looks-based platform, and social media in general is, but I do feel like it's my passion And so I would definitely be diving into that a lot more. And I think I could be successful in general. So I'd want to be like traveling a lot and living the sort of life that I dreamed of living prior to 2020. I want to make those dreams a reality. So while the question initially shocked me, in the end, I realized that my dreams hadn't really changed and that it was really just that I had buried them. So I thank you for that question, Lindsay. But that's kind of what I would want to do, is that kind of stuff. Because I really love doing this. I mean, it's really cheesy to say that, but I really do. So, and I'm still I'm a little bit in shock that I'm allowing myself to like finally fully pursue this. And so it's kind of like I'm just going to live the life right now kind of thing and just hope it gets better, because it's been very hard for a lot of years. Okay, anyways. So Bot asks, what's your favorite peat flavor? So probably right off the bat, my number one peat flavor is probably sour watermelon. I know it's super random, but those are the ones that I crave, like, by the time we get to February every year, and I'm just like, I need to get sour watermelon immediately. So I'd say probably sour watermelon, although I will say they had Dr. Pepper ones this year, and they were new, and they were really good. I also love cotton candy and party cake. I mean, I just love peeps, honestly. I do. But I would say probably sour watermelon. So, Moodily Udily asked, outside of the photosphere, what is your weird niche content obsession? For example, when not watching FA reaction channels, I sometimes watch police body cam footage of arrests. Not sure why, but it fascinates me. What kind of content do you think would be fun to make if you weren't reacting to FAs or sharing your journey? So this is like a big question, and I was thinking about it a lot, and I have kind of a long answer, but I have quite a few obsessions. So really my obsessions are Taylor Swift, astrology, politics, and yeah, I think that's pretty much the obsessions. And to be fair, like, before I came to this channel genre, I did try those other genres, but I found that I just didn't have the same level of commitment to it. Also, the way that YouTube is, like, the algorithm works, it's really difficult because all of those aspects, with the exception of astrology, which I'll have to address that secondly, I guess, but like Taylor Swift and politics, for example, doing a channel based on those two things. I never considered doing a channel on Taylor, but, well, actually I have considered it, but I never seriously tried or attempted. But when it comes to Taylor Swift and politics, the viewership of those niches are very, very, like, you have to be in lockstep, especially within YouTube algorithm, like how that works. And I find that, like, in both topics, like, I don't support Travis and Taylor at all. I don't like them together whatsoever. So if I were to have a Swiftie channel, that would be like an extremely polarizing statement that would go nuclear, because the Taylor Swift fan base is very, like, they can be very extreme. And I'm not saying that everybody is. Obviously, there's amazing Swifties, and especially millennial Swifties, I find, are, like, able to look at the situation with a little bit less, zealotry, I guess. But it's just, it can be tricky, because if I were to make a video like that, it would be seen as, like, super crazy and polarizing. And I just get a lot of hate, and it wouldn't work in terms of algorithm. And it's the same thing with politics, because although I'm definitely more on the right, 100%, like I feel like I've been very clear about that on this channel, I don't always agree with everything in lockstep, and politics is very similar, where it's very difficult to get off the ground if you don't follow things in lockstep, because the YouTube algorithm doesn't allow any deviance from the expected norms of your audience, which is really difficult. And that's why the political space on YouTube is so incredibly polarized, because centrist content creators, center right, center left, etc., or even just people that think for themselves, I know that that sounds a little harsh, but I'm just keeping it real, they are very much punished in the algorithm and punished by YouTube. So a function of YouTube makes those types of content unavailable, especially to be discovered. Whereas when it comes to anti-FA, not only is it my most passionate issue, but it's also one that I am in lockstep naturally, as I am totally opposed to fat acceptance. There might be a couple takes here or there, but because it isn't such a politicized or polarized issue as other issues, there's a lot more room to agree to disagree within this space, and that's a lot easier to be discovered, as well as I think it's the most important. And I used to think that politics was like the most important thing, but I don't anymore. I had a change of heart. I had a Saturn return, right? Which that tends to happen. We tend to change our minds around the ages of 28 to 30, for those of you guys who don't know what that is. But that's what happened to me. I realized what my true passion was, and it was just, I can't get on here and argue with people about politics all the time, because I don't care enough about it. Whereas like the fatness issue, I absolutely can argue about it forever. So I think that that's honestly why I decided on this path. But I do have another channel. I have a personal channel called Graphically Gay. And on that channel, I kind of talk a lot about these other interests that I have, be they astrology or politics, or Taylor. Gosh, I talk about her a lot. Talk about that woman all the time. But it's like, that's the kind of space that I have for that kind of thing. And I don't expect that to really grow. Again, it's algorithmically punished for sure. But hey, if you guys are interested in like getting to know other parts of me, definitely follow that channel. But be warned, it's not a safe space. It's not a professional space. I'm a lot less filtered on there and a lot less structured. And as you guys know, I'm a mean girl. So I might bite if you come over there. So just be aware. But if you just want the fat content, then just stay here. Like here, I'm going to keep it professional and on topic for the most part, unless you guys ask me questions and stuff on future streams, But let me go ahead and continue on. Oh, the astrology side, I forgot to say. The reason I don't do astrology is because I didn't feel like it was ethical to try to make money on something like that. And that's just my personal take. Like as you guys know, I am a Christian, but I'm not evangelical, I feel like that's kind of obvious. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe for people who aren't a Christian, they don't understand that those are two different things. But I do engage in astrology, for example, and to me, it didn't feel ethical to charge money for that. It just felt wrong on a spiritual level. That's why I couldn't, in good conscience, build a whole channel around that. Whereas like what I tend to do on my other channel is I'll just like share kind of astrological insights that I have about the time just in my streams, you know what I mean? And to me that just feels better because it's different than when you're like reading someone's chart and you're like charging for it. Like it always felt weird to me. No shade on anybody who does it. Like that's not at all what I'm trying to say. It's just for me personally, I just didn't feel like it really connected, but to me, or it didn't fit within my personal value system. But I'm not judging anybody who's doing that. I just need that to be clear. So for me, it was just like, that's why I never decided to build a whole channel around that. I did try it, but it was like a lot of pressure. And I feel like when I'm pressured in that space, I can't read it as well, if that makes any sense. So as you can see, I have a lot of hodgepodge, okay? I'm difficult to predict. I'm difficult to algorithm. I'm difficult to categorize for YouTube. So because I'm just not a typical person in that sense. Like I'm just not. I'm not the kind of person where YouTube can just funnel me into a certain demographic and that's going to be what people want. Except in this case of anti-FA. So I hope that provided a lot of insight into my choices and also why I decided to do this, if that makes any sense. Okay, so let's continue. I don't know why I like got out of that page. One second. Okay. So the next one is what sort of foods in your diet helped you stay satisfied and which ones weren't so helpful? And what sort of exercises did you do? Were there any that were low impact that you would recommend? Okay, so first and foremost, the types of foods that were not helpful, it depends, because if you're talking about my diet in specific, they've all kind of helped me stay satisfied. But certain foods that in my past did not help me stay satisfied were things like fish, things like almonds, things like nuts and seeds. Those types of foods, I'd feel hungrier. Things like salads, like I used to have a lot of kale, a lot of anchovies and things like that, which I know sounds kind of nasty, but I believe that they were healthy. So those kind of foods were not at all satisfying whatsoever. Like I would just feel really, really hungry. Like when I was keto, for example, I just felt hungry all the time, pretty much. Like I either felt hungry or sick. Does that make sense? So like nauseated. But I think it's because of those kind of foods where like I hardly ever would make a steak, which I would say like the foods that have helped me stay satisfied. Honestly, it has been a lot of sugar, for example. So just getting direct sugar rather than having bread. It's, I don't eat a lot of starches either because it's really slow to digest. And I know a lot of people, they believe that that's the best, but it's not actually that great because you don't have any energy. And especially for me, I have a job where I'm really active, so I walk a lot. Like I've tried to tell you guys, I don't think a lot of people understand, but I walk, 4 or 5 hours a day when I'm walking. And at a hefty size, especially when I was almost 400 pounds, that was quite extensive to accomplish. And it took a lot of energy building foods, which are more like your direct sugars rather than starches. So I don't eat bread ever. I have a gluten intolerance. So I never eat bread. I don't think there's anything wrong with eating bread. It's just, it's a slower to digest food, for example, and it would definitely make me hungrier. So I would say like really just like simple sugars and fatty meats like and cheese, especially cheese. Cheese is like a hallmark of my diet. And yeah, I've had a lot of like bacon. So those kind of foods are probably like the most sustaining, especially on a deficit. That's what's helped me the most. What sort of exercise? So the low impact exercise that I would recommend honestly is just walking. I just walked, I would go to the gym I went, the first year I did this, I went 3 months. The second year I went 3 months. Then last year I went 6 months to the gym. But I don't always go to the gym, but I always walk. So walking, even extensive periods of time, like I said, I walk for my job. I walk a lot at my work. So that has really helped me just build stamina just over a long period of time, burn a lot of calories, and eventually get out of super morbid obesity, as you guys know, combined with my thyroid protocol and eating within a deficit, you know. And I don't think I would have had the energy to walk that much if I was doing a different diet. Because a lot of adherence has to do with how much energy you're producing, how much energy you have. So that's what I would suggest, or that's what helped me. Okay, Polish Dora asks, do you think that the food industry has anything to do with fat acceptance? Do you think they pay fat activists to spread the ideology, or doctors and dietitians to say that eating ultra-processed foods is okay, etc.? I absolutely do. I also think that weight loss drugs are also paying fat activists too, because I do find it interesting that a lot of ex-FAs are promoting the drugs as well. So I think I've always said that people will always try to make money off of a fat person. And, you know, whether it's to help them lose the weight or help them gain the weight or help them keep the weight on and try to feel better about it, somebody's trying to make money off of you as a fat person. It's just very much a thing. So I definitely think so. I 100% think so. Do you remember and write down your dreams? Asks Sean. I don't always remember my dreams, and I don't write them down. I do remember them sometimes, but I don't typically try to. So, recommended exercise routines is the last question. This is from Snack Nap. So for that, I would say my recommended exercise routine is honestly lifting weights. I think if you are super morbidly obese, if you have to lose weight over a long haul, if it's at all possible, which definitely, keep that in mind. If it is at all possible, okay? Do not feel bad. Do not feel like you have to justify yourself to me. Don't even start writing those comments. If you, for whatever reason, cannot lift weights, if you're too tired, that's valid. If you are disabled, that's valid. If you are too sick, that's valid. What I don't accept as valid is it's boring. That's not a valid reason. Because it actually helps your brain be less bored. As I've talked a lot about lifting weights, the repetitive motion of the weightlifting increases dopamine in the brain and makes you less bored and less reliant upon food for stimulation, and as well as provides a lot of other hormonal benefits. So I would say definitely, if you can, please lift weights if you're on a long haul weight loss journey. You don't even have to do it year round. Just doing it, like I said, I started doing it 3 months here, 3 months the next year, and then 6 months, right? I don't even go year round at this point. Just try to get it in at some point. It really helps over the long haul. And then just stay active, or just keep walking or doing the lighter activities even on the off times. It really, really helps. So that's what I would suggest. But yeah, that's all the questions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the announcement. And yeah, let's hope that this works out. No, I'm just kidding. That's terrible to say. I will just say I will really appreciate it if you guys support me in this by watching, liking, subscribing, etc. I would greatly appreciate it. It is a dream, absolutely. And it's scary for me to commit completely. I think it's a toxic millennial trait. I'm terrified of committing to a career or to, a job choice or whatever. It's really scary to me. But I'm just really happy to be healthy enough to pursue this for real, for real. Thank you guys so much. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.